Ground operation is a political decision. Are we going in or not? Even that's a political decision, and that's made by the political authorities. So, the blame for the failure of a ground operation, even a ground operation, even a defensive action. Now, for example, take Poonering, the first debacle, Janakapura. The government had to take the responsibility for those debacles. You see, so when you take responsibility for failures, you also get the credit for triumphs.
Now, why is that the UNP failed to put forward a candidate this time?
Well, I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, why would I don't think I have anything much to add to that, except to quote here what the chairman of the United National Party, Mr. Ayubowan, had said at that crucial working committee meeting, where they decided to support an external candidate. What he said was that he had gathered together 400 of his closest supporters in his electorate, and of the 400, 99% had wanted an external candidate and not their leader. So that is the reason. I mean, the leader was seen to be unable, to face President Rajapaksa.
Isn't it a very sad situation for the UNP?
Of course, it's a very sad situation, and it's scandalous, really. This is something that should never have happened. And the fact that they have brought a complete outsider into politics, I mean, this whole idea of bringing in outsiders to create a temporary kind of what you call some kind of you create a kind of momentum, a temporary thing that lasts a while by bringing in an outsider, a new face. Now, this is a very dangerous thing, because when you start appointing outsiders who have no political experience into these political positions, that bodes very ill for the country. I mean, they have no political experience, they have no decision-making experience at that level. You see, whoever is elected to power, this is what I feel, whoever is elected to power should have played the role of a key minister in a previous government. Now, the reason why Jaya Jawadan was successful was that he had been a senior minister for many years. And when he came in, he knew what to do. He knew what not to do also. But despite that, even having experience is no guarantee that you will be successful. You see, there can be certain blind spots. Now, if you take President Premadasa, a very experienced man who had done a lot for the country, but still his blind spot was the way he handled the party. So even having experience is not really a guarantee of succeeding. But if you put someone without any experience into that position, then there's a guarantee that it will be a failure. Now, you see what happened to President Chandrika Kumar.
Yeah, I will come to that, Chandra, because we'll go for a short break and we'll be back with you in a moment. Back to Ayubowan Sri Lanka. We are with Mr. C.A. Chandra Prema, the political correspondent of the island. Welcome back, Chandra. We were discussing about experience, and then you were coming to Chandrika, and whereas Chandrika was a chief minister, then she became the prime minister and the president. She also didn't have this experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, had she served as a senior minister in Mrs. Bandaranayaka's government, you can be 100% certain that her performance during the first 7 years of her rule would have been very different. But what happened was that she came in after 17 years in the opposition with absolutely no experience in governance. And, or even, I mean, you could see that she probably didn't have a sense of how even to behave before the public, how to speak before the public. I mean, it was given a family background, given the fact that she was the daughter of two former prime ministers, both of them respected people, the way she spoke, that turn of phrase, that vocabulary, I mean, there was much to be desired in that.
But the people made her the president twice in this country. She ruled for so many years.
Well, she did. One of the main reasons for that was the weakness of the opposition. One of the main reasons for that was the weakness of the opposition. And also, her lack of experience showed during her first term in office. That is from 1994 to 2001. It was basically a reign of terror, especially for the UNP. It was a reign of terror. There is no question about it. I mean, now, had she been calmer, had she been generally more settled during her first term, she perhaps would have been as successful as President Rajapaksa today. The only thing that introduced an element of instability into the country. Now, you must remember that during Chandrika's first term in office, there was no global recession. There was no 2008. You see, there was that that brief Asian recession in 1998, but then it picked up. All right, but there was nothing like 2008. Despite that, the country experienced, from the time she came into power, the country experienced a politically induced, let's say, an economic slowdown. You know, and we didn't recover for 9 years. So the way the head of state behaves, the question whether she can be perceived as a person who has balance is also a major factor that affects political stability.
What about Mahinda Rajapaksa?
Well, in Mahinda Rajapaksa's case, I think his strongest point was that he was far more balanced than Chandrika was. In fact, I would say that he was far more balanced than most people, almost all the presidents except D.B. Vijayasinghe. You know, I mean, the thing is, when you come into a high position like that, the first thing that you should do is, not to give the impression to the country that you are unbalanced, that you tend to go off at a tangent, that you overreact to things. That is the first thing that you have to do when you hold that position, because you hold the key to stability or instability in this country, and that is something that whoever the president is has to understand. That is something that Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa, he understood it, and I think it comes natural to him. He has not rocked the boat. He has not persecuted the UNP during the past 4 years. Even though there is a slight escalation in election related violence at this particular election, generally speaking, over the past 4 years, no UMP was living in fear of his life, or of being persecuted, of being imprisoned. You see, so when UMPs don't live in fear, that's about 30-40% of the population. They're happy. I think they're not fearful. They're not living in fear.
In fact, he got the UNPs to join him.
Yes. In fact, one of the reasons why so many people, even at the grassroots level, joined his government in the recent past is because he reduced the tension between these two parties. He didn't go after them. Even at the village level, you could see that the SLFP, the ruling party, also changed. Now, during Chandrika's time, this ruling party was different. You could see that with the change of leadership and the change of the personality of the leader, the party also changed. You see, so at the grassroots level, they were not harassing the village UMP activists. They were basically left alone, left to their own devices, and basically things were calm in the country.
What about his relations with the JVP? Now they have joined hands with the UNP, but President Rajapaksa's.
Well, if they have joined hands with the UNP, but that I don't think that's due to anything that Mr. Rajapaksa did. It has something to do with the JVP's own agenda, their own political agenda. Now, if you look at the JVP, I would feel that you have to give credit where it's due. They had every opportunity to join the government.